Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Rader, and in this video, we'll take a look at characteristics for democracy in order to measure the level of democracy in New York State and in New York City. And we're going to look specifically at the New York State investigation tool. And we'll take note of any parts of the process that may be challenging or that may require some additional support, which hopefully this video will help to provide. And we'll also consider how we can apply these indicators to really measuring the extent to which the city is really an active participant in democratic functions. So we want to first prepare our indicator in step one. So in order to do that, we need to remember what the indicators are. And if you don't remember, you can look back to day one in unit two. And in this video, I also included a hyperlink to one of the resources in day one, which was a hip pocket guide to understanding democracy. And for the indicator that I chose for the model, we'll take a look at elections. And again, this website does a nice job uh, summarizing the key components of democracy. So if we go back to the main page, we can see there are a wide variety of characteristics that you could choose to measure democracy in the city of New York. So looking at the tool, first question they ask us is what kinds of information would you need to figure out to determine whether or to what extent this indicator is present in New York City. So if we want to think about free and fair elections, we might want to look at news stories surrounding voter participation or voter suppression initiatives at the state and local level. And perhaps we can compare that to what's happening at the national level. So this table will help us to categorize our information to see if it is not present, if it is somewhat present, or if the characteristic is clearly present in the city. Then we'll investigate further in step two, and we'll include some basic research to really explain whether or not this indicator is truly present in the city. And what's really nice about this organizer in this investigation tool is not only are the sources provided in the Passport to Socialized curriculum, but we also see the hyperlinks and we see characteristics that we could also choose from for our research. So for the purposes of this video, I chose to look at the New York City Campaign Finance Board and the New York Civil Liberties Union, looking specifically at the ACLU and their initiatives as it relates to free and fair elections. So for any of these articles, we can go right to the hyperlink, and that'll take us directly to the source that we need for our information. And as we're conducting research, we want to use this table to keep track of the data that we are collecting. And we'll want to keep track who is the author of the source. So whether that be an actual person or an organization. In the case of the two sources that I'm using here in this sample, it's organizations. And we see some very clear connections to the data as it relates to the indicator. So in the voter analysis report, we really see connections being made to individuals who participated in every election over the last 10 years and voters who essentially participated in no elections over the last decade. And in the second link, it speaks more to specific court cases that have been filed. In this case, it's a case entitled Martucci versus the New York State Board of Elections in 2020, about a year ago. So really relatively recent to see what's actually happening in the city. And I included hyperlinks that again bring directly to that website. And again, if I click on it, it'll take me directly to what is actually happening in the New York Civil Liberties Union. And if I scroll down, I can see various issues that are related to free and fair elections within the city of New York. And the very first case was the one that I used as the sample here, as it was the most recent. But there are other cases that you could choose if you were to choose this indicator and you wanted to do some research on your own and find a different case to discuss. And then in step three, using the data and information that you compile from your sources, you'll want to respond to the key focus question, which is according to your data, to what extent is the indicator and characteristic present in New York State and New York City? And your teacher may ask you for specific guidelines in terms of the length of your response, but this gives you a good opportunity to summarize your overall argument and your position as it relates to this question. And it also gives you an opportunity then to share out your responses with other members of your class. Okay, so that'll do it for today. I hope everybody has a very nice day. Take care, everybody.